I am in California this week, so I have rented an electric car, this Nissan Leaf. And I've actually been very impressed with it. The car easily maintains a cruise. The acceleration is noticeably better at lower speeds than it is at higher speeds, but it still is good enough. The car has extremely good acceleration at low speeds, but at high speeds, it's still good. It's not great, but this is actually a very fast car, surprisingly. See, I'm going to take the E-pedal off because I'm going down a hill and I can just roll. Let gravity do all the work. If I had to hit the... Ordinarily, if I took my foot off of the accelerator, in a flat environment like where I live in Texas, I think the E-pedal would just stay on. But here, there are some times when you want to be able to just use gravity and not have the car immediately slow down and charge the battery when you're trying to just coast. Now, departing from an Amazon Fresh, I've never been in one before. No surprise that I was able to charge my vehicle for free here, although being that it was one of the Type 2 chargers, really picked up very little charge, but that's okay, I didn't need it. Driving an electric car does require a little more planning if you're going a long distance, because you have to stop and figure out where you're going to be able to recharge. And you want to be able to use the higher speed chargers. And therefore, you have to plan where you're going to go. Now, the map on here will show me where the nearest charging stations are, and you can select that you only want to see the higher speed chargers. You can also select you only want to see free chargers. But you get what you pay for, and if you use the free chargers, you're not going to be able to charge the car as fast. So it requires a little bit of work. However, just driving around California here, this car has enough charge, it can go enough range. I don't have to charge very often, and when I do, if I use the high-speed chargers, and there are a lot of them around, it charges very fast. So, it really has not been a problem. Now I'm doing something weird here. I am driving an electric car and I am pulling into a gas station. Now this is because I want to get a soda, but it's kind of odd that I pull an electric car into a gas station. People might think that's weird, and they'd be right. The ergonomics of the Nissan Leaf are actually very good. The display here has a map, and then of course controls for music. It will link to your phone, all the basic things that most cars have nowadays, but the layout of the system is actually very simple. It even shows you where the charging stations are so that you can get another charge. Furthermore, the instrument panel gives you all the pertinent information in terms of your direction, your how much charge you have instead of a fuel gauge, how far you can go, and all your controls for your e-pedal. Right here, turn it off, turn it on, eco mode, and the shifter to move into reverse or drive. As you can see, reverse is forward, drive is rear. It's actually a very good layout. You also have all your basic controls on the steering wheel. Most cars do nowadays, but the way this one is set up is very easy. And see if we need a charge. Shows us exactly where the charging stations are. That is all you have to do. You move the gear shifter into the position you want and go. Everybody who has never driven an electric car should do so at least once. It's a lot of fun. It really is. I will probably eventually own one. The more time goes on, the more charging stations are built, the more that the infrastructure is present to make it conducive to having one. So when you're ready to go, put your foot on the brake and push the power button. Move the shifter to the left and forward, placing the car in reverse. And drive is in the bottom position. The electric motor does a great job going up a hill. Using the free chargers as a way of recharging your electric car is just not practical, because they do not charge the car fast enough for you to get a complete charge in a reasonable amount of time. I would have had to leave the car there all day to get a full charge, and they're not going to allow that. So really, if you just want to add a little power to your battery while you're shopping, it'll do that, but it will not actually serve as a full means of charging the car. The fast chargers, which I have found plenty of here in California, they're easy to come by, will charge the car completely in a reasonable amount of time. Not as fast as refueling a car with gas, but still a reasonable amount of time, and for a lot less money. I mean, I can fully recharge the car for a whole lot less than a tank of gasoline, but I have to pay for it. And if I'm going to shop somewhere that has a free charger, and I have found a lot of free chargers. Since I have been here, I have seen shopping malls and grocery stores and that little shopping center up there that all had free chargers. So, depending on where you go, you may be able to at least save some money on power. But you cannot practically run the car exclusively off of free electricity. Shutting the car off with just a button. Car puts itself in park. Overall, I am very impressed with this car. I am executing a very tight corner here just to see how tight we can go, and it is very impressive. Even for as small as this car is. made a very tight corner most cars would not be able to do. Coming up to a red light, take my foot off the accelerator. I made it all the way to Bonds without touching the brakes. I bet you I make it all the way back without touching the brakes. The electric motor does well going up a hill. And we are going to try this again with the E-pedal. I'm going to take my foot off of the accelerator at this point now, and once again I did it too soon, so I'll give it a little accelerator. That is all you have to do. You move the gear shifter into the position you want, and you go. The problem with using the E-pedal in an area like this is when I'm going down a hill like I'm doing right now, I have to turn it off so that I can just take my foot off the accelerator and let gravity pull me down the hill. If I had the E-pedal on, the car would slow down to regenerate the battery. And it won't let me just use gravity to pull the car down the hill. Now that I'm coming to a light, I can use the E-pedal to slow the car down. The car slows down to a complete stop purely on the power of the regenerative braking, which can actually bring me to a stop before I wanted to. Now I have the E-pedal back on, so when the light turns green, I can go, and the E-pedal will take care of everything. It really is a very impressive system. They've done a very good job of engineering, but you need to have this E-pedal on-off switch right where you can get at it easily, and they do. Now I'm coming to another red light. I take my foot off the accelerator. The E-pedal slows the car down to a complete stop, and it was slowing me down too soon. It actually works too well, so I have to give it a little more accelerator. And we're stopped, and the car is holding at a complete stop without me ever touching the brake pedal. Very impressive system. Now that I'm going again, I come to another stop. And purely on e-pedal, it slows me down. Even though I'm going downhill, not much, but downhill, it still brings me to a complete stop purely on e-pedal. I'm in Southern California. I'm in an area with a lot of steep downhills and steep uphills, and I have hardly used the brake pedal. You know, I may have to get one of these. Overall, I have been very impressed with this car. It is very intelligently laid out, easy to work with, handles nicely, corners well, has good acceleration, and the range is very good for a car its size and class. I mean, certainly there are longer range Teslas and other electric cars, Lucid, that have much longer ranges. But in a reasonable price point, this is actually impressive. I have arrived at the Plains of Fame Air Museum at Chino Airport. All I have to do is turn the car off. The SAE J1772 chargers that Volta uses are not nearly as fast as the ones that I used at EVgo. However, they do have the advantage of being free. So even if you have to take a little longer charging, can't beat free. From the point of view of a business, it makes sense to give your customers free charging, because then customers with an electric car will come visit your business instead of one of your competitors that does not. Probably the amount of power that the electric charger uses pays for itself in increased business, but I would need to see numbers on that. I'm not 100% sure that's the case. I suspect that's the case. I suspect that businesses that put in electric car chargers get more business and more customers, and then as a result they make more money. As with most modern cars, you push a button to start it. However, this button is lower than I'm used to. But that's all it does. You push the button and you are ready to go. There is no engine to start. As you can see, you push this to the left and forward for reverse, or rear for drive. I'm now leaving the Volta station where I got a free charge, although it did not charge it very much. The SAE J1772 chargers just are not as fast as the chargers that I was using at EVgo. But I had to pay for those, and this was free. And you know what? There is a certain appeal to free. And there's an appeal for businesses because customers with electric cars are more likely to go visit a business if they can get their car charged for free. So I understand why businesses want to put these free chargers. This time I nailed it. This time perfect. This time I nailed it. I stopped exactly where I wanted to, a reasonable distance from the car in front of me, purely on momentum and e-braking through the e-pedal. So all of that was converted to electricity. There is a gas station right there, and regular unleaded is over $6 a gallon. $6.19 a gallon for regular gas. Yeah, if I lived here, I absolutely would have to have an electric car. Diesel is not that much more. Diesel is only $6.69. Proportionally, that's not that much more. I would have expected it to be closer to $7. I'm now getting off the freeway, and I am going to disable the e-pedal and now re-enable it, and the car slows down drastically. When driving on a highway like this is Highway 210, the car is not as smooth as I would expect it to be. I'm not sure if that is due to it being a lighter weight vehicle. I have no idea, but you would expect this car to be heavier. I mean, it does have an electric battery, but it does not have an engine. And I'm sure the electric motor weighs less than an engine would. So I'm not exactly sure what the weight would be, but it seems to not be particularly smooth. All in all, I would give this car a very favorable rating, but one thing they need to work on is how smooth the ride is on a highway. Now, unlike some of the previous roads I went on, this one is in very good road. This is a very good highway, and it's smooth enough, but most of the cars that I'm used to would be smoother than this. The interior is sufficiently large. I'm 5'11" and I have absolutely no trouble fitting in here comfortably. And the ergonomics are very good as well. I don't know what effect the weight of the vehicle has on the smoothness of the ride, but it's not great. That's one drawback of this car. It seems to vibrate a lot. Now, I'm not driving on the best roads right at the moment, but say what you will about Los Angeles traffic, but I can live with this. When you reach your destination, all you have to do is push the button. It shuts the car off, puts it in park. The car moves just a little bit, which is how you know it went into park. And then you are done. You can see I have 132 miles left before I need another recharge. The sign does not appear to be working, but it made a beep. And it is charging. You can tell from the light. As time goes on and there are more charging stations and there's more infrastructure to accommodate it, I will probably eventually own an electric car. Not quite there yet, but it is the future. We will all eventually be driving electric. And based on my experience this week, I kind of like it. I really do. This has been a lot of fun. I wasn't sure I'd like it, but I do. I came into it with an open mind, and it paid off. These Volta EV charging stations are free, but they use the Type 2 connector here, and it does not charge as fast as the EV Go, but you also do not have to pay for it. So, the Nissan Leaf is a very practical vehicle. Despite its small size, it actually has a lot of cargo capacity. Once again, going down the hill, turning the e-pedal off. And I'm basically coasting. Turning the e-pedal back on to slow down to make my corner. Round trip without touching the brakes. Driving on California Highway 91, you can't see, but there's a lot of traffic heading towards San Bernardino, and I'm heading towards Los Angeles, and right now I am encountering no traffic. So I'm on the right side of the road. I'm very tech savvy and I'm a fast learner, and I can get this fairly quickly. To somebody who is not used to it, it could take a while to get used to. I expect when I get home, going back to a diesel car, I will probably unlearn this real quick. The problem with using the e-pedal in an area like this is when I'm going down a hill like I'm doing right now, I have to turn it off so that I can just take my foot off the accelerator and let gravity pull me down the hill. If I had the e-pedal on, the car would slow down to regenerate the battery. And it won't let me just use gravity to pull the car down the hill. Now that I'm coming to a light, I can use the e-pedal to slow the car down. The car slows down to a complete stop purely on the power of the regenerative braking, which can actually bring me to a stop before I wanted to. Now I have the e-pedal back on, so when the light turns green, I can go, and the e-pedal will take care of everything. It really is a very impressive system. They've done a very good job of engineering, but you need to have this e-pedal on-off switch right where you can get at it easily, and they do. Now I'm coming to another red light. I take my foot off the accelerator. The e-pedal slows the car down to a complete stop, and it was slowing me down too soon. It actually works too well, so I have to give it a little more accelerator. And we're stopped, and the car is holding at a complete stop without me ever touching the brake pedal. Very impressive system. Now that I'm going again, I come to another stop. And purely on e-pedal, it slows me down. Even though I'm going downhill, not much, but downhill, it still brings me to a complete stop purely on e-pedal. I'm in Southern California. I'm in an area with a lot of steep downhills and steep uphills, and I have hardly used the brake pedal. The shifter simply moves to the left, and if you pull back, it goes into drive, but the car will not move until you hit the accelerator pedal. If you push the shifter forward, you are in reverse. Fortunately for me, there are plentiful charging stations here in California. There are plenty in Texas as well, but not quite as many. To stop the car, you just push the power button. Turns the car off, car goes straight into park. very easy. In many ways, driving an electric car is not that different from driving a gasoline or diesel-powered car, and in many ways, it is very different. One of the main differences that you'll notice has to do with the regenerative braking. The other difference is the acceleration. Because you have so much low-end torque with the electric car, when you first start moving, you have a lot more power than you would expect, and it fades as you go faster. You can accelerate from a complete stop to moving at a reasonable rate of speed much faster than you expect you would be able to, and then that dissipates. But the other difference is when you stop, like I'm stopping for the stop sign, all that I do is take my foot off the accelerator and the vehicle stops completely on its own with no need to hit the brake pedal. This one pedal driving makes it very easy to operate the car because you literally never have to use the brake pedal unless you need to make an abrupt stop. But I am finding that I practically hardly ever use the pedal at all. So here we go. Obviously, electric car, no engine to start. The Amazon Fresh having an electric car charger is not surprising. Electric car chargers do bring people in because they can get a free charge while they're grocery shopping, but the electric car chargers probably generate more business than what they cost in power. At least that would be my guess. But at the same time, those Type 2 chargers, they just don't provide a lot of charge. When you get a free charge, you get what you paid for. The nice thing about this is that I have very little driving left before I return the rental car, which I have been very pleased with. I will be happy to rent an electric car in the future.